applause.
Okay, so now we've going to do our panel, and this is on social media. So the first thing I'm supposed to do is introduce our three people that are going to be on the panel. And we will start with, we'll go Kim Deas. She is going to be on the panel, and she is she's a former owner of an international marketing company, and she did that when she was 4, is when she started, and that she is known.
Instagram, Snapchat, there's lots of them out there. And I actually came across a Forbes article, which you can find online, and it was about social media myths. And I actually believe a lot of these are false, and so they were kind of giving their take on it. And I tell my clients this all the time, so it was perfect. The first one I wanted to talk about is that everyone is on social media, and that you have to be on every social media network to make your business successful in marketing. And that's absolutely not true. When you pick a social media network for your business, you definitely want to look at your demographic. You need to go back to your business plan. You have a business plan, right? Okay. You need to go back to that because that's going to tell you who your people are. And if you don't know that or your business plan isn't telling you that, that's the first thing. And once you have that, you can actually with some of these. I'll give you an example. Instagram is mostly young women under 35. If your brand really caters to that market, you should have an Instagram account. If your brand really caters to young men under 35, you should be on Twitter, not Instagram. So there are lots of different things that kind of tells you who's on Facebook, how long they're spending on Facebook. The average person who has a Facebook account spends about 20 minutes on Facebook every day. So for you to be able to capture someone's attention as part of that 20 minutes, that's huge. Now, Facebook posts kind of expire after about 90 minutes. They pretty much aren't social medias who you're actually reaching with those things. But you should not be on every single one because that's not necessarily where your people are. So find out who your people are and then look up demographics for social media and then find out which 2 or 3 you should be on. So that's the first myth. Does that make sense to everybody? Pretty easy, right? This isn't rocket science. It seems like it, but it's not. So a lot of people think that the second myth is that it can't be done in-house. You need a firm to do this for you, to do the social media stuff, to do the ads. I actually believe the opposite of that. I am a firm, and we do this for people, but I also believe that business owners and businesses should be empowered and should be trained and taught this stuff. So that's what I do. I consult a business, and I train their people so that they can do this stuff in-house. And then if they need help with something else, I'm there to help them, but I don't like it when someone is so attached to one company. Like, well, they do all my social media. If they stopped, I don't know what I would do. I like to do that, but there are also business owners who can do it differently for their business. So that's one of the myths. All right, I have a couple more. Number 4 is that social media is your broadcast channel. So if you think about TV, is TV very interactive? Finding out what your people like and what they're interested in and what they'll respond to can also help you tailor your sales content to them as well. So it's not a broadcast channel. It's something where you can get their opinion. People always say, okay, well, I'm going to put out this service. I'm going to put out this, new thing I'm doing. Ask them. They'll tell you whether they like it or not. You'll know right away. All right, 3 more. So social media presence can replace your website. Thank you, Mary. You shook your head quite emphatically. I could hear it rattling. You're like, no. It cannot replace your website. And if you need to ask anybody that question or want to know more about that, definitely talk to Mary because she knows this for sure. But it's something that is supposed to be in addition to. It's not something else you're supposed to have to do. Oh, I got to do social media now, and I got to do my website, and I got to do all these things. It's supposed to support your website. When you go to a Facebook page or you see a Facebook post, is going to really help your business. And then the last one is that social media is a replacement for in-person networking. Can I get a big laugh for that? Come on, that's silly. That's just silly. And a lot of people think that social media is, having an impact on our society and all this stuff, and that's why they try to stay away from it. And I think social media is a tool, just like all other things are a tool. Cars are tools. Social media is a tool. Your website is a tool. There are lots of things we use that can be harmful, and we can use them in really good ways as well. And I think social media is one of those things. If you use it wisely and you find someone to be in your corner to maybe help you navigate some of these things that go with social media, then I think you'll have a really good success with it, and it can be really, really helpful for your business. So I hope these myths have helped you. I'm going to pass it over to Blake now, and we're going to take questions at the end. So if you have a question, write it down, put it in your phone, and then we'll answer them at the end. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm actually going to get up and walk around a little bit, just to move around. Thanks. That was some really great information. And, I was thinking, as you were talking, I was thinking about that. How many years has it been since we've had a new social media platform? Hasn't it been about at least 7 or 8 years? Yeah, it's been a while. So we've had the same platforms for a really long time, but within those platforms, they've done a lot of innovation, right? And one of those innovations is live video. In Jacksonville, there's about 400 people there. It was a really good turn, grow a following, things like that. It's more in-depth, but I got a lot of good information that I wrote down. So what I'm going to pretty much do is just share some of that information about live video, about what's working, and you can take with it as you will and do with it as you want. But her name was Luria Petrucci. And like I said, she's pretty much a live video coach. And it was that live videos bring out a certain authenticity that recorded videos can't. If you do a recorded video, you could say a line 10 times so you get it perfectly, and you could do 50 lines and string those together and make this recorded video, which is how a lot of recorded videos are made when you see those quick jump cuts. But live video, it's just you going. It's just talking. You're just going for it. And another aspect is the interaction with the live video as well. You can do your live video and have an interaction with your audience and who you're speaking with. So those are really the two main benefits, authenticity and interaction with your audience live on camera is pretty much the two benefits of live video. And much of her talk was about, everyone in the room was marketers, and several of them were already doing video, so a lot of it was some more technical information, so I'm going to skip over some of that. But one of her main because you can still do a lot with that video, that might be a good strategy for you, especially if you're developing new ideas for yourself. But the live video, when you do it consistently every Wednesday, every Monday, every Friday, when viewership and interactivity on a live video is, a lot of people say, keep it under a minute, keep it under 3-5 minutes. The peak is 20 minutes in. So 20 minutes in, you're going to have your peak viewership and interaction. And a lot of the show flow isn't just you sitting there talking. A lot of it is interacting with the audience, asking questions, kind of like social media. And the last thing is, if you have trouble warming up and getting in front of that camera, her big tip, because she works with a lot of executives as well, like corporations, executives are not very comfortable on video, is to do something fun before. Don't just sit there all looking at your notes, kind of like a statue. She recommends because these are marketers who are working with a lot of these folks, but she said bring in a ball. Just toss a ball around and every time you catch a ball, say a new color or a new type of car. Get some flow going, tell some jokes, have some fun with it so you're not like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm nervous. Get out of your head a little bit. There's a lot of improv games you can do that as well. You can Google that to learn more about those. But if you're feeling nervous and a little stiff, that was a kind of a good tip I didn't hear any before. Have some fun before you actually go on the video and have some more fun, right? All right, well, that's some of those tips I heard, and I'm really interested to hear any questions on any video other than live. If you have any, I'd be happy to answer those.
Awesome, thanks, Blake. I wanted to make sure to talk about something really practical that every single one of us could do after we leave today. So fair enough. I'm going to go through a quick set of slides on Google Review. Every time you get a review, it just builds your mountain, and it builds your mountain, and it builds your mountain, and it builds your mountain. It's the one thing that your clients, if you do this, they will be singing your praises, and new clients will look to that and come to you more frequently. So I want to go through Google Reviews for you. I think it's probably one of the most powerful things online. I guess technically it's a social media because it's sharing, it's just on that edge. But let me go through this. I'm going to give you, and you'll have access through Nancy to these slides. I don't have a lot of time, so I am going to go through it fairly quickly. I don't expect you to take down every one of these notes, but I want you to walk away with the big nuggets. The first thing is, how do you get a Google review? because they are so stinking difficult. It's hard to find some, but this is the first place they're going to find me. And this is my first point of credibility. So I highly recommend that you get your reviews. But now that you asked for the email, you got to set this up first. There's no point in me telling you you have to get reviews if you haven't set this up. Now, if you work for a larger company like an ADP or in a bank, you may have to have them set those up, and they may not be as effective for individuals that work in larger companies. As an attorney or an accountant or a service provider, what I did with my company, even though I own Murphy Business and Financial Services, I did not do my reviews as Murphy Business and Financial Services. What my review is Business Broker Jacksonville - my name. The reason I did that intentionally is so that every broker in my team can set up their own set of reviews. And now I make sure that they get the credibility. So attorneys can do this. They can certainly do business law attorney or Glazier and Glazier - Scott Glazier. You can do a specific person. You don't have to do just for the company. That's one of the biggest mistakes that companies make, or sales forces make, where they have their sales team. They can put the individual there. It just takes a little more work to set it up. So let's talk about setting it up. Maybe we'll talk about, that highlights the review. So when you click on that, it'll take you here to write the review. And this is where they actually write the review. Now, they are going to have a Gmail account, and they have to be logged into Gmail. This alone is going to disqualify a part of your clients to giving you a review. They will not sign. Then you put suite number, whatever the P.O. box number is. If you're in an office where there's multiple attorneys, let's say, you could use suite A, suite B, suite C. But each person has to have a unique address. So that's one thing that you need to know. Google's going to want to know where that address is specifically. Now, there's a box that says, I deliver goods and services to my customers. Not complicated. Once you've done this, this is what your screen is going to look like. Now, what's neat here is it's pending. It's going to ask to verify it. And typically, there's a couple different verification methods, and Google's been playing around. They used to mail you only. Now, Elizabeth or any of the other folks that provide those services can help you get set up. It's fairly straightforward. It doesn't take a lot of time, and it's pretty easy to do. So that's really Google reviews. I think it's one of the most powerful tools if you're going to do anything online. This is probably the first one I would tell you to do. So I think we'll open it up to questions.
Yeah, and with the questions, if someone asks a question, it may not be picked up on the video, on the audio. So if you could restate the question when you answer it. So do we have any questions? Janice?
I just wanted to ask you, Blake, if you could give an example of what you've done on Facebook Live.
Yes. Yeah, so she wanted an example of something I've done previously for Facebook Live. It was pretty much just discussing a handful of tips around a topic. So the topic would be about maybe Google My Business, and then tips on how to get reviews would be it, and then it would list some tips. And sometimes I've done I've had some writing on a whiteboard. That's pretty much where it's gone with there. I mean, that's a formula you could use, but ideally, since we were so new with it, we didn't get a lot of it. It's been pretty long, so because I'm trying, I wasn't realizing that you shoot for the 20 minutes, but the longer you can do it, the more likely people are going to jump on and say, hey, what's going on here, and check in.
I've got a question. On the Google review, how are the reviews monitored, and can you reply as a business owner to the reviews?
Yeah. The question is, on Google reviews, how are the reviews monitored, and can you reply to them? And the answer is absolutely, they are monitored. We've even seen cases where if you get too many reviews too fast, hard to get reviews to begin with. When I make sure to ask people who've had a good experience. Just saying. Google has a natural filter there, so it's harder for bad reviews to actually come in. Someone will almost have to seek you out to really get you a bad review there. It's not as easy as some of the other platforms. Do you have any comments on this, Elizabeth?
So as far as reviews go, I like to try and keep them authentic, but there's a way you can kind of separate them a little bit. So I use Facebook reviews and Google reviews, and if you have any other platforms that you're paying for that you're on that have review systems. My website actually has reviews on it as well. So for those three different pieces, I'll actually separate the people who come to me for different things in business. If I do something for you for free, I send you to review me on Facebook. So if I just help you out and I'm like, hey, review me, like that was fun, whatever. If it's somebody that I've done business with that has spent quite a bit of money, I ask them to do a Google review, because chances are I've already set them up a Google account and they have a Google account. And then if somebody has done like a quick website, we do a website in a day, which is kind of our mid-range product, then I actually have them review me on my website. So I kind of separate them into buckets so that the reviews are mostly authentic, and I might get some 4-star reviews or whatever. I actually had one lady review me on Facebook, and she gave me a 1-star review and then wrote a great thing about how wonderful I was. She just clicked the wrong button, so.
Any other questions? Okay. Oh, go ahead, Adam.
This has really been an area that we've really been concentrating on, is inbound marketing and social media presence. And I think as a business owner, the one thing that is so overwhelming is, number one, how many platforms are out there? And number two, how do you reach the right audience, from LinkedIn to your Facebook to Instagram? So I would like to hear your recommendation on, does the type of business attract on a certain type of social media platform, or is it just strictly based off of demographics and age? For example, our business is more of a service business. So is there a certain platform that would be more attractive and more people will be on than another one, I guess is the question.
Yeah, so which platform is right for which businesses, not just based on age and gender and that kind of thing, yeah. I would have to say that I definitely, for you specifically, because you're in the business solutions, business services industry, specifically in that industry, I would say LinkedIn would be your probably number specifics of who is on which platform. Then you'll be able to see those things kind of just jump out at you right away. Pinterest may not be the best platform for you, and Instagram, 35-year-old young women are probably in the fashion sense or whatever. They're probably not your demographic that you're going for. So those are kind of ruling out those things as you go through them. And yes, it is a lot based on age and gender, but it's also based on income levels and, where do they work, and are they in college, or are they out of college, or do they have college degrees, and all those things you would see in a demographic sort of sense. Also based on psychographics. So if you haven't heard of that, psychographics are really detailed on their lifestyle and their choices of, are they vegan, are they vegetarian, and like those kinds of things, like more lifestyle choices. And psychographics are really going to also help you narrow that down. And yes, you're going to eliminate a lot of social media platforms, but really you're not eliminating them. You're just giving yourself more focus. Do you guys have anything?
Sure. What kind of industry are you in? Office equipment. Yeah, I mean, it's really about where your customers are, and if you're selling equipment to other businesses, yeah, I would double down on LinkedIn, big time. The other part of that workshop was a guy, Daryl Eves. He's probably one of the world's best video marketers. We were very fortunate to get him there, and he just spoke to the VP of video at LinkedIn. LinkedIn's experimenting with a lot of video. If you've been on LinkedIn recently, you see a lot more video in your feed than you did several months ago. And he wouldn't give us any company secrets, but he said if you have any video strategy on LinkedIn, triple down on that, because it's not going anywhere. I think it's in a similar trend to Facebook. So I just shared that little piece of information. But yeah, it's where your customers are, and if they're on LinkedIn, then be just drilling home on that, creating content, posting, liking, commenting, messaging. Yeah, I haven't done a lot of advertising with LinkedIn, but you can send messages to people personally as ads and reach out to them and actually create conversations on the platform.
Yes.
How often should you be, especially with business people, tweeting or LinkedIn? How often do you send stuff out?
How often to post on which social medias? That really is a much larger question, kind of going back to which social media should you be on. It really depends on the business, and it really depends on the platform. Instagram, you need to be on that thing multiple times a day. Twitter, you need to be posting multiple times a day. Doesn't mean you have to be physically on there. There's schedulers you can use and things that you can use to streamline your process. But actual half-life, what they call half-life of a post, is different for every platform. And so once you choose which platforms you're going to be on, so really it's business plan first, then find out who your people are, then choose your platform, and then we decide how many times a day to post. And once you figure which platform you're supposed to be on, it's going to really determine how many times you need to post, or what kind of content. Is it video? Is it a post that's written? Is it a question? Is it a graphic? Instagram is only pictures. You can only, it's pretty much, that's it. If you have a photo that you've made on some platform, some software that has words in it, that's fine, but it's not actual words written in a post like that. And there's lots of hashtags with Instagram, and you have to know what those are. So once you've picked the platforms that you're best going to be suited for your business, then that really does determine what you're posting and when you're posting. And there's all kinds of strategies for that. And I'm sure that anybody, Mary, and other people that are in the group that have, in my industry, are going to be able to help each business determine that, because it's very difficult to kind of weed through all of the craziness that is out there about that.
Having had to do this before and done this for clients, I hated having to plan social media calendars. I cheat. I use a product called Meet Edgar. Meet Edgar is a poster. I post on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. I tweet every 20 minutes. If you hit my account, Jack's Cool Stuff, you'll see me tweeting every 20 minutes. On LinkedIn, I post 2 to 3 times a day. On Facebook, it's 2 to 3 times a day. On LinkedIn is a couple times a week. So the speed of the platform also determines how often you post. Twitter, it's super fast, so I tweet every 20 minutes. Again, this is all scheduled. This is not me. Obviously, you haven't seen me. I don't even have my phone here. But if you go onto my account, you will see me posting on Facebook, posting on LinkedIn, posting on Twitter. I like Meet Edgar because you have categories. You can pre-create your content, and it randomizes your content. You need to maintain it. There's work that has to be done. It's not a set it and forget it forever. It's a set it and forget it for maybe 60, 90 days, 30 days, whatever, and then refresh. So there's a strategy there, and folks can help you set that up, but it's a neat little product. It's about $50 a month. I get nothing from it, but I absolutely love it. It's cheaper than hiring an admin to do my work. So yeah, it's easy stuff. So that's my recommendation.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. We'll finish up the meeting now. Thank you. Okay, I guess we'll do the door prizes. Okay, keep everybody here. We have door prizes. That's another way to promote your business, sort of old school, right? Bring an item, and then you can promote it. And if it's Howard's, we'll drink it afterwards. So speaking of, we'll do those first, and we'll hold off for the Mega Millions. I guess no one won that. That was someplace else, right? I always find that interesting, right? I won't buy a lottery ticket because $6 million is just not enough. But I'll go buy a ticket for $500 million. Really? Okay. Our first one is, who's this from? Oh, Genevieve Napier from First Citizens Bank has $10 gift card to Al's Pizza. That'll get you a nice beer or two. Get you started. Okay, and cards in here. Dave King. Okay. And the next one. From Ken Smith, Ken Smith, a $30 gift card to Roy's at Jack's Beach. That may get you half a beer at Roy's. I'm just kidding. And that goes to Marie Watson with First Atlantic Bank. There's Marie. Okay. And from Mr. Steve Price, Price Investments, we have extra dark Lindor chocolate, and that is, it actually says extra dark truffles, chocolate truffles, Mr. Price. And that goes to Tim Raines. Okay. And this is from Bert, because I saw him walk in with the umbrella. And you know, the fact that he brought the umbrella means it's not raining outside. So, this is a full-size umbrella, obviously not the little tiny ones. And this goes to, oh, we know that. We can see it. To Jessica Bush. And, you know, ADP, they wouldn't have an umbrella there at all. You know, that just isn't on their thing. Okay, we covered them all? No, didn't we have one more?
Nope. Those are bowling prizes.
Bowling prize.
But we have
Howard,
$35.
we were counting on your wine today. He did, but he did it for the bowling tournament. Okay, we're going to. Okay, we have $35 on the 50-50, and we have a number here. At least we have tickets this time. 929. That should knock a few people out. 1. Who's left? Last number is 6. All right. Okay. So I think that finishes it, right? Okay, we're done. Thank you very much for coming. We'll see you in August.